Hi everyone, Sue from Art, Craft and Journals, and I had a bit of an urge recently to play with some paint. Okay, wiped my hands. This is reasonably dry now, and I have out my little paint palette. And first of all, I'm just going to choose a colour just to roll over to start with. So I think I'll start with one of the lighter ones, probably the Tattered Lace, I think. So I'm just going to pop a little bit out. Oops, more than what I anticipated. And I'm just going to roll it on to start with. I'd only want a thin coat, so it's just more to blend, I guess, the paper, the background papers in a little bit, and any bits that are sort of particularly darker, so give them a little bit more. I hope everybody is well. I am. It's absolutely pouring outside today. Still winter, of course, and it is wet today. Very not that cold, I don't think, when I went out earlier, but just very wet, just drizzly and really wet, which, you know, it's good and it's bad. You know, you go out and you get wet, and because I wear glasses, it's a pain because your glasses get totally wet. But we do need the rain. You know, we need to fill up our dams ready for summer, because in Australia, where I am in Victoria, we quite often have water restrictions, which, you know, is never great. So we do need the rain. Alright, I'm happy with that. Now I'm going to have to let that dry a little bit before I put on another colour. So I will be back in a little while when that's dry. Alright, it's reasonably dry. What I thought I might do now is I'm going to do pretty much the same thing, but I'm going to use the French Rose, which is the more slightly purpley or pink. Try to get less out this time. So again, just rolling it, just bits this time, just to give it a slightly different colour in the background. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see that because the colours are quite light. And what I do is try not to waste too much, just splat it on. Alright, now I think I will use a stencil. Now these little blue ones, they're just from the Reject Shop in Australia. They're quite cheap. I can't remember how much, but I think there's usually maybe 6 on a A4 size, and you just cut them as you want to use them. They're quite good. They're not, you know, as you can see, I've used them. The smaller bits I do find do sort of curl up a little bit, but not much you can do about that. But I'm going to give this, it looks like it might need a little bit more dry, so I will dry that and I will come back. Okay, I'm going to use the Fortune Cookie, which is a yellow, and basically it's just a matter of building up the layers now to the point where you like it, I guess. Just looking at what brushes I've got. Just a sort of a stippling brush, and I've obviously got a bit on there. Now let's see how this one goes. Okay, I'm not sure if you can really see that. I'll sort of bring it up as high as I can. Yeah, so as I said, it's just a matter of building up the layers in the colours that you have. If you don't have the chalk paints, you could also use just normal acrylic paint. Maybe just lighten it up, start with your white and add your colours so that you get more of a lighter colour. because I think the lighter colours are more suited to the vintage sort of style. So yep, just a matter of building up the layers. So I'll probably fast forward this for you because it is very repetitive, and you'll be able to see what I'm doing as well. And I don't really have a lot to talk about. Nothing much has happened in my life recently. I have a birthday coming up, which, you know, that's when you get to my age, it's, well, you know, you accept it, but I don't know. It's not like you look forward to huge amounts of presents as you do when you're younger, I guess. But, and ironically, my partner's birthday is actually just before mine. He's 3 days older than me. And yes, I do rub that in quite often. Because, well, you know, you have to do these things. So, yeah. We'll just have a family dinner, nothing too exciting. Alright, I will speed this up now. From now on, I'm just building up the layers. What I am going to do with this one, the frozen eyes, I'm actually going to lighten it a bit with the antique white because it is quite dark, and it's sort of a little bit too dark for the sort of the background, I think. So just going to lighten it a little bit. I think that will be okay. Now there's certain areas are quite wet, so I'm just going to be careful I don't overlap that too much and blend it too much. Okay, so that's what that's turned out. It's quite effective. You're best not to use the edge of the stencil as well, because then you get that straight edge, which isn't the best looking. You're better off with a sort of a more, I don't know, splotchy sort of a look. Just little bits here and there now. Okay, I'm happy with that for the moment. Just let that dry. Now I do happen to have a few of these index cards on my table that I've been using. Just pop that there. And what I'm just doing is using the excess paint on these. I'm not sure what I'll do with them, but I'll figure something out, I think. Obviously this one I did earlier with the yellow, it didn't really show up very well, so. Okay, I'm not sure if that worked out too well, but anyway. Okay, I'm sure I'll be able to use them for something. It's just a way of using up the paint and starting a background of something else, really. Okay, that will do for that. Now I might have to clean this one off now because there are a few too many colours on there, although maybe just some light little, and I find I tend to neglect the edges a little bit too. Any areas that don't have much on there. Okay, it's looking quite effective, I think. Maybe not too vintagey right now, but I think it will be fine now. I'm just going to clean this off because I need it a little bit cleaner. Alright, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just, I'm not sure which way to go, whether to tone it down first with the antique white or whether to use the driftwood. I think I might use the driftwood with a stencil and then use the antique white with the roller just to tone it down a little bit before I start doing some stamping. Now this is a It's one of those sticky stencils. It's not too bad to use, but I don't know how it will go. We'll see how we go. Hopefully this isn't too dark. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, that's not too bad. That's come out quite clear actually. That's quite good. Okay. We won't do too symmetrical and do it in every corner. What we might do is a little bit like so. Again, try to avoid the straight edges if I can. I think that's coming out quite nicely actually. I'll try this other pattern. I do like that corner one though. Maybe another corner one over here. Very gently with this one, just rotating the brush because I don't want to wreck the stencil. As you can see, that sort of just gives it a bit more colour, doesn't it? Quite like that. Alright, might just leave it at that because I do want to use some stamping. So I'll just let that dry a second and grab a couple more of these cards and use up some more of the paint. Not to move it, but I don't want to take all day. Oh, I quite like that. Oops, that looks quite nice. To one side. Okay, I might just clean up this so I've got a bit of room to work with the stamps. So I'll be right back. Alright, before I do the stamps, I will just do a little bit of a white or antique white layer just to tone some of it down a little bit. I don't want to tone it all down, but we'll see how we go. Tones it a little bit, I think. Sort of gives it that more antique-y look, I think. That's what I think anyway. Okay. Let's see what I can do with this leftover bits. Yeah, I'm reasonably happy with that. Where is a brush? I'll just try and get these edges here. Just a little bit here. Just tone that brown down a bit and the blue too. That's quite dry already. Gee, that's dried quick. Alright, I'll clean up this mess and get some stamps out. Won't be long. Alright, what I've got out a script stamp. I have a little, it's a key. It's a bit hard to see. Hang on a minute. Not sure if you can see, but it's a key, sort of with a scrolly top. I have a stamp here that has like a florally scrolly thing on there. Now I also have out this ink and this ink. So that one's VersaFine Vintage Sepia and Fallen Leaves. That's actually quite a dark brown, almost a black. And I also have out the Distress Inks Dusty Concord Dried Marigold. So what I'm thinking is, because there's quite a bit of blue, I don't want any more blue. I'm going to try and bring it sort of to more purple colours. So let's just see how we go with this, because you've got to have script on there no matter what. So I don't want too much, just a little bit. As you can see, it's just a matter of building up the layers, like any mixed media type work. It's just a matter of building up layers. And if you don't like something, you cover it over. I'm going to use the little stamp, the key, but I think I need a block for this. See if I can. Yep, there's one. And my stamp blocks are absolutely disgusting. They really need a good clean. But like anything, you know. You tend to only remember when you're using it. Now I'm trying not to be too dark with this actually. Okay, that'll do for that one. Now the scroll. Now because this one is quite dark, I'm going to stamp it on something first. Yep. Okay, maybe one there. Yep, that'll do. So that's what it's looking like so far. And get rid of all of those. And now I'm just going to use the Distress inks, but I think I'm going to use them through the stencils. And this stencil is, what was this one? This is a Craft stencil. I'm sorry, trying to get it. That's, yeah, 6x6 designer template lace borders by Craft. It's got some nice borders on it, this one. I'll get rid of that. Let me see, which one did I use? I quite like that one, which was the edge one, this one. And I'm going to actually put it along the border. And I'm just going to rub it through the stencil. Hopefully it will work reasonably well. Okay, it's not too bad. It's come out like so. And we might pop another one here where there's not much. Oops. Of course, try not to move it while you're doing it. Quite like that. Maybe just a little bit in the middle here. So, as I said, it's just a matter of building up your layers. Okay, now I do have the dried marigold too, so I might just do a little bit with that. Not sure which one to use for this one. Quite like this one here in the middle, but I did find that this bit here was a little tricky, so we'll see how we go. Of course I need an area that's big enough. This might be too light. Oh no, it's quite bright. I don't think I've used this one before. Let's have a look. Yeah, it doesn't really show very much. Oops, there we go. Moved too quickly for the camera. We might just do a little bit of with that one. Okay. Alright, I think I will stop there. Right. So that's basically what it's going to be. Now, any edges that are just a little bit like this, chop them off. Alright, so that's that one. And then the next thing, of course, is to cut it up into tags. I'll be back in a moment when I've got my cutter. Alright, so I've just randomly cut some different shapes and sizes that I will make into some tags. Now just quickly, I just usually do this when I'm making them. And I do have a punch that I use for the bottoms. Don't always do this. Just gives a nice rounded look. What I might do is stop the video there because I'm not sure how long it is, and what I might do is come back and do some decorating. So I will say goodbye for now. I'm not sure if I will do this today or whether it will be another day. Not sure, but I will come back and decorate these. But thank you very much for watching. I hope you were crafting along, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.